Hey everybody, it's Derek here. Thanks as always for stopping by. So recently I had done a live stream where I reviewed, I think, 4 or 5 books. And this one happened to come up in that list. And there were some things that came up in this book that really warrants its own book review video. So that's what this is. Let me tell you about it. This one was written by, how do you say his name? I think it's Firas Alkhateeb. I hope I'm saying that right. The Lost Islamic History, subtitled Reclaiming Muslim Civilization from the Past. So sort of in keeping with, Palestine, because everyone wants to make this about Muslims against Jews or whatever, which is a complete false conflation. I am interested in Muslim history because I think we're now living in an era of post 9/11 anti-Arabism, anti-Islam, and we've been stewing in it since 2001, and it's not objective. It's simply not objective way of looking at literally what is it 1/7 of the entire world's population. There's 1 billion Muslims out there. I don't know what I was thinking there, guys. Correction. It's between 1/4 and 1/5 of the world's population, with about 2 billion Muslims. How can you look at the Muslim world and say that, oh, they're just intolerant, it's not a religion of peace, they're jihadists? And it's like you're talking about over 1 billion people, for heaven's sakes. And so I've been trying to check my bias on that. And trust me, as liberal as I am, I have a bias towards Muslims that I'm trying to get rid of. I had read the Quran, I don't know, 6 years ago, I guess. And, I wasn't terribly impressed with it. But like any other holy book, the Bible, there's a shorthand. There's a literary contribution that these books have had in these cultures. And it's like, as much as I dislike many things about the Bible, for instance, you can't just dismiss the whole thing. I mean, just the fact that it's been a part of our society for so long. There's a shorthand that has been created by it, like the suffering of Job. I don't need to say anything more than that. You know what I'm referring to. Keeping on the straight and narrow. There's so many things that we just use as a shorthand to explain, and that's really the wonderful thing about these books. And yes, there's plenty of things to dispute in them. I'm an atheist. I'm a secularist. I've got my problems with the preachments of Islam and Christianity and Judaism. But you can't just dismiss all of that literary contribution. And so I'm trying to check my Islamic kind of, it's not a phobia by any means, but my Islamic bias against them. And so anyway, this book really covers very sweeping history. I mean, you're talking about 260 some pages, right? And you're trying to condense the whole Islamic history, from the rise of Muhammad until present day. So obviously this is just a glossing over vast stretches of history, but to understand, what has Islam given to us, in terms of literature, in terms of science, in terms of medicine, in terms of education, like the academic institution as a whole, in terms of, math and studying the cosmos, and even simple things like carpets. We associate that with as a Persian innovation, but the Ottomans were doing it at the same time, and in many cases it was even better quality. So, these are little things, but they add a lot. I mean, think in terms of architecture. The Islamic world has gifted to us. Also, and I think Malcolm X is even quoted here. This is worth finding while I'm speaking here. In terms of contending with the race problem and the religion problem, the Ottoman Empire, for example, stretched, it encompassed just about every religion you can think of. It was one of the most pluralistic societies ever enjoyed. I think Malcolm X, I'm still not finding the quote here, but he said that if you want to see how to solve the race problem, look no further than I think he said either the Muslims or the Ottoman Empire. Of course, I did find a few things in here that I found kind of sanitized the Muslim history, but there's going to be a bit of that. We certainly have that on our end, speaking of the Judeo-Christian tradition. So, you have to wade through that, but I really appreciated this book because it started to open my mind up in many ways, and as a result, I'm reading other books like another one called The Ottomans by Diana Dark. I just finished that last week, I think, and there's another book I'm going to talk about in a few days, The Idea of the Muslim World. Shamil Aden, I think is how you pronounce that name. So this sort of got me kickstarted in that direction. I have read the odd thing. I read, like, for example, The Fall of the Ottomans by Eugene Rogan and many other works like that. But I want to check that Islamophobia, because the intensification of the dehumanizing project in Palestine in particular, although I can extend it to the whole Persian and Arab world, it's just not objective, and it is it's a concerted effort to dehumanize Arabs and Persians. Yes, they have their sins just like everybody else does, but we have to check our biases against these people because they have such a rich culture. How Palestinians have been persecuted. It would be such an insufferable loss to our world if they were eradicated, or if the Israelis were successful in ethnically cleansing them. They've already been so successful in that enterprise as it is. Hey everyone, I hope you liked this video. If you want more like the one you just watched, click the suggested video on this screen. Make sure you subscribe, and to connect with me on my other platforms, my handles are linked below in the description, alright? Take care, peeps. Till next time.